Hey guys, Gertrude Dontra here. You're welcome to my channel once again. If you're not already subscribed, you know the deal. Like, come on, let's have a conversation about this. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and make sure to hit the little bell beside the subscribe button so that every time I put out new videos, you get a notification. Today, I'm super honored to welcome Ashley Hill. And Ashley and I met this past October at FinCon in Dallas, Texas. And, you know, she told me that she talked about scholarships. And I thought that was interesting. And, you know, I thought about, okay, so how, like, scholarships. And more recently, as I was planning my content for 2018, I began to think of Ashley and her message and scholarships in school, because my whole message, right, if you've been following me, is I'm tired of seeing people broke. And I'm always telling people, like, okay, this is a side hustle you can do to make more money. This is a side hustle you can do to make more money. But the truth is, if you don't have as much money going out, you save just as much. And for a lot of us, school loans are like a prison so many of us live in, right? Some of us have 50, I think the average, I don't know, you can correct me on this, Ashley, and we'll, you know, what is, like, I think the average student loan debt is around like 35 or 40,000.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's just for like a basic college degree, right? And so we haven't even tacked on grad school. We haven't tacked on professional school, which we know a lot of people have to pay for. And if we tack all that on, we're talking about people owing hundreds of thousands of dollars. That simply is a huge debt. And that's on top of your mortgage and your car debt. And so today I brought Ashley on to really talk about what she's doing, because she's doing a great job with directing people to scholarships so that you're not going out there to take out too many student loans that will cripple you and keep you from living a financially free life. And that's why I got here, Anya. So thanks, Ashley, for honoring my invitation. I really appreciate you coming. So,
well, thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So tell me about you, how you got into scholarships. What made you, like, that whole spiel? Just tell us.
Sure. So really I started out 7 years ago in the general college admissions world, and I was working with families and students and putting together packages and kind of advising from my own experience. My short background is I did a bachelor's in biology at Kent State. I went through that process of finding college funding, and I was so blessed to be able to graduate with very little debt. And then I took a short break and then went back to school, went to grad school and did public health and research and public policy and all that, and did my spiel in corporate America for a little while. But I was just blessed overall that I didn't have as much student loan debt as a lot of people. And that was because even with the little knowledge that I had back then, I knew to focus on scholarships. And so I started out doing journal packages, but about 4 years ago, I had families saying, well, my kid's pretty smart. I'm not worried about that, but how are we going to pay for this? And so I totally shifted into the college funding world, and I've been doing that ever since, and helping students. And you mentioned this earlier about how much money is available even now here, but I work with students all the way from the really, really little kids, like 4 or 5 years old, all the way up to the doctoral level. So there are scholarships for every student.
Wow. Scholarships for every student. So we're not even just talking about college. We're talking about people trying to put their kids even in private school for elementary school or for high school, right? Right.
Yes. And you know, even today, it was so interesting. I was looking up scholarships for private school for a family with a 3-year-old. But then as I was looking, I actually saw a college scholarship for a 4-year-old. I was just blown away.
What?
Yes, blown away.
It was a college scholarship for a 4-year-old.
Yes.
How does that work?
And actually, I know, right? They accepted students from 4 years old all the way up to 18. So that's what I've been pushing out on lives today. Okay. Great. So I was watching your Instagram. So as we record this, it is December 29th. And yesterday you were doing an Instagram live. And I popped in, and you said that even just like in the last 3 days of 2017, there was about $140,000, because you are always on the prowl for scholarships. I know that you're doing this every day. You're looking out for it for people. And, you know, if you're looking for a scholarship, your girl Ashley has got you. She's looking every day. Now,
you said there was $140,000 in scholarships just in those last 3 days of 2017. So for somebody that is about to go to school, somebody that's about to school maybe this spring or maybe next fall, maybe this spring is too quick, but maybe next fall they're going to start going to school. Where do they need to start looking for scholarships? What are some of the resources that are out there that people can go and begin looking right now today?
Great question. So I want to start off by saying this, is they really need what I call a multiple touch points. So they can't just rely on one app or one website or one source, but they really need to utilize multiple sources. And the reason why is because I've discovered over the last 7 years, and then in my personal experience, that no one website, no one scholarship resource contains all of the scholarships. Mm-hmm. In fact, even with the students that I work with, I check anywhere between 200 to 300 scholarship websites all the time.
Wow.
For resources. So it's a lot out there. But number one is I tell students to start in your local area. That includes if you're in high school, start with the high school counselor. They usually have a section of the high school website. I would then move on to local colleges. And here's the thing, even if your child or even if you're the student, and let's say that you don't want to go to a local college, the good news is that colleges, the financial aid department of colleges, they usually have two types of scholarships. They have institutional aid, meaning that you would have to attend to go there, but they also have external scholarships where if you're just a resident of that city or state, those scholarships still are applicable to you. The third place that I would say is whatever your future profession is, or for your child, if they're going into nursing or engineering or biology or medicine, there are professional associations, and a lot of them are dedicated. A portion of what they focus on is ensuring that the upcoming professionals in that field have funding to go to school. So check with those professional organizations as well.
So your local area, right? And these local area scholarships, you have to be from the area to get it, right? So it could be a city or a county scholarship, right? And then the next one is to go to your local college. And sometimes those ones have, you said, the two kinds of scholarships, the institutional ones and the one that is outside, like it's outside funded. And so they can give you a list of those scholarships, right? Yeah. If you ask them, okay. And then the next is to look at organizations. So for instance, if I have a child who wants to go into pharmacy, let's take that example. Do I just go to like the Board of Pharmacy website and start looking? Like, how do I practically find this? Like, or do I just type into Google scholarships for future pharmacists? Like, what do I do to find those particular scholarships?
Good question. So I do them in two ways. The first way is I do use Google. So for example, I'm making this up, but if there is an American Pharmacist Association, for let's say current pharmacists or even those that are going to be licensed, I would go there and I would get their contact information and say, look, my child's interested in being a pharmacist. Do you have a list of scholarships, or do you offer a scholarship? The second place that I like to check is on LinkedIn. And by the way, I'm encouraging parents, if you're listening, if you're the student yourself, is get a LinkedIn account, because that's like the professional Facebook type thing. And so a lot of the associations are on there. They have groups, and start connecting there. And usually they tend to release that type of information. So watch those organization accounts real closely.
So watch the organization accounts. You can also call up the organization, right? You said that. Correct. You can call them up and find out, okay, is there anything? And I know, because I used to be a nurse, that there are different groups even within nursing. So like they'll have the, like Latina Nurses Association, African American Nurses Association, Native American Nurses Association, or nurses who have been in the military. It's like all these like subgroups, even within professions, sometimes have scholarships. And so if you know that you fall into any one of those categories, then you can look that up and find that. So so I know that you said that you just said like 200 to 300 websites. Wow. Is there a resource? Let me just, if whether it's paid or free, do you have a resource that gives people a list of these websites?
Well, I haven't released that list, but maybe you just gave me another side hustle.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, you do the work, and once again, hey, side hustle, start a side hustle. I'm always talking about start a side hustle, you know. So yes, this is a side hustle. Like, she does the work. She goes to 200-300 websites in the course of the year to research scholarships for people. You might as well create that into a list and then not give it, but like sell it, for some amount, because that is going to probably bring $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 into somebody's life, and you're giving them the list that you have done all the work for. So this didn't end up. I wasn't trying to give you advice in this video, but okay.
I'll take it.
Yeah. But can you give us like maybe 5 websites?
Sure.
Where people can look.
Yes. So number one, hands down, I love scholarships.com. They're hosted by a great organization, and I just love how they have things organized by like gender, ethnicity, medical condition, mental or physical, military status, just different things like that. They separate it out really well. So scholarships.com is number one. And actually, speaking of student loans, Sallie Mae has a new scholarship search website on their main website. So if you go to salliemae.com, right at the top there, they have a section for scholarships for future and current college students. You can check that. So number 2 is that website. The next one that I like, I actually do like FastWeb. I use FastWeb as one of my sources. Number 4 is I like the Sholly app. That's SCHOLLY. I know it's not a website, but I love the app. It was free when I downloaded it. I'm not sure if there's a cost now, but it was free when I used that. And then the 5th one is this. I love going to it's really, I guess it's really a multiple answer. Every state, has a higher education office. And so they usually have scholarships, so far that I've seen, on every state higher education office. And so just quickly Google your state + higher education office, and it'll pop right up, and they have scholarships there as well.
Okay, great. So those are 5 resources Ashley gave to you, like for free. And I'm sure you can do a lot with just those 5 resources, but she's still going to do that side hustle and make that list of 200 websites. Okay. All right. So then my other question to you, which is probably like we're kind of coming to the end of this conversation, is a lot of the scholarships require you to write essays. And I think that is what deters people from applying, because like, what? I got to write an essay? Like, that's too hard. I'm just going to go take a student loan. And, in the end, student debt is bad for you, because no matter what you do, like if you declare bankruptcy, student loans are the one debt you never can declare bankruptcy on, right, Ashley?
You're right.
Right. It's the one thing, like, no matter what, they're not going to cancel that debt. And so, like, I'm really, really passionate about people having as little. You heard Ashley, she had as little debt as possible, because she took advantage of the scholarships that were available. Now, because of that, people are like, oh, I'm not going to write the essay because this is the easier way. The student loan is the easier way. But in the long term, it's not the easier way, because it costs you a lot financially. And you can't really begin to live your financially free life when you're in a lot of debt. So what are some of your best tips for people to write essays, to get over the fear of writing essays and thinking, well, I'm not a writer, I'm not good enough? What are some practical tips that people can use to get their essays together and get them submitted?
And I love this part of our talk. I love this because you're right. A lot of students are frustrated, they get discouraged. But let me share 2 things before I get into my tips. Number 1 is this, is when you take out a student loan, let's say it's $50,000. When you get ready to pay that back, you're paying back more than $50,000 because of interest and other fees. So you're actually paying back more. It doesn't stay at $50,000 when you get it back. So keep that in mind. But number 2, I want to share this, is I actually I've been blessed to have experience on both sides of the table. I've been a scholarship applicant, and I've also been a scholarship judge. And I've sat on scholarship committees, and I can tell you, the thing about the essay is it's so crucial for a scholarship judge. It actually separates the winner from everyone else. And let me tell you why, because with scholarship applicants, yes, we look at grades. Yes, we look at, things like that. Do you meet the requirements? Did you take the right courses? But at that point, we need another way to differentiate everyone. And so then we go to the essay, because there we get more insight about who you are as a student. And we also get to learn more about you outside of academics, outside of the classroom. What have you done outside of school? Are you serving your community? Are you becoming a leader? Because those are the top two things we're looking for in scholarship essays. So with that being said, here are my tips. Number one is learn how to tell your story. It's storytelling. You have to put yourself on display. And make sure that, so whatever the prompt is, and usually there are really common questions like, why did you choose your career? Why do you deserve this money? Those typical questions, but make sure that you are telling your story and giving examples, not just stating that I'm a leader, I'm amazing, but tell me how you're amazing. Tell me about a problem that you solved. Maybe you helped your team to complete a task. Don't be afraid to tell your story. Number two is be authentic. Be authentic. We can tell when things are being fabricated, and scholarship judges will check. So make sure that you're telling the truth, and be authentic. But don't do a woe is me, life is horrible and my life, was bad. But talk to us about your struggles from a place of strength. How did you overcome them? If you did have a rough patch or a rough moment. The next tip that I would give is make sure that you're meeting the requirements. If the word count is 500, and you submit one for 550, it will be disqualified. That's an easy way to get your application tossed out. The next tip is don't be afraid to read.
Can I interrupt? So don't write more. It's better to write just around that number, right? Yeah. Like if you write 450, that's better than writing 550. Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly. And then the next one is this. And this, I'll explain it like this. So let's say you have your prompt. Don't be afraid to repurpose, because you're going to see a lot of the same questions. And this is how you save time, is work on your solid response, but just switch out the examples. So don't give the exact same essay to every scholarship you apply for this week, for example. Right. Switch out your examples, but it's okay to keep the same general response.
So these are such great tips. So then, stand out, tell your story. And I love something else that you shared on your live yesterday. And if you don't mind, I'm going to share it. You said, when you go onto the NFL website, or you go to the USTA website, and you go look up Serena Williams or Rafa Nadal or Roger Federer, they have stat sheets. They have, how many Grand Slams they've played. They have, all the details about them. There's there. So create a stat sheet about yourself. What are some of the amazing things you've done? And sometimes it's so easy, and even I get caught up in this. It's so easy to be like, my life is not awesome, and then, or I've not done anything amazing. But, volunteering at church, I've seen people get positions at work because they were leaders in a church group. And they stated that because that's all they had. But they were like, no, I led a group of 10 women for the last 3 years. And what? You can lead 10 women for 3 years? That's amazing. You don't have to do these. You don't have to go to space and have won all the, the school science fairs to stand out. But what have you done consistently? What have you achieved consistently that is special about you? So you create that little stat sheet about yourself. So I'm going to create a stat sheet about myself just to kind of demonstrate, right? So yeah. I would kind of be okay, my name is Gertrude. And I'm trying to think back before I went to college, what were some of the things I had achieved? But, my name is Gertrude. I do have a degree. I have degrees in biology and nursing. I have a PhD. I have a son who I've raised, for 4 years. And some of us think that, being a mom is not something that you can necessarily put on a scholarship application. But the fact that, you know, you're committed to raising your child a certain way, right? The fact that, you know, you like spearhead your child's development, that can all be put into terms that allow you to win these kind of scholarships. So I really love that tip that you gave yesterday on your live video, and I wanted to bring it up because I think that it's something that people sometimes think, oh, my life is not as great, but no, you do some amazing things. It's just all about how you sell it and how authentic you are in your description, correct?
Correct.
Right. Awesome. So these are all really great tips. And thank you, Ashley, once again for joining me to talk about this. Now, if people want to find out more about you, they want to get in touch with you, they want you to help them personally to start getting some of these scholarships lined up for themselves or their children, how can they reach out to you?
Great. And so the first way is through my website. It's www.collegeprepready.com. And also I'm on social media a lot. I'm on Twitter, which is prep, F-O-R college, prep, F-O-R college. I'm on Instagram at prep, F-O-U-R college. That's F-O-U-R college. And then lastly, you can find me on Facebook, on my Facebook page, which is prep, the number 4, and then college.
Okay. All right. Great. Thanks so much, Ashley. This was really insightful, really, really helpful.
Thank you.
And I know it's going to help a lot of people. You know, some people don't even know that these scholarships are available. So now you brought it to light, and hopefully some of you will actually get in touch with Ashley, chat with her. You know, I know she may charge you for some time that you may spend with her, but she's also really nice. And if you ask her nicely, maybe she'll just give you some stuff for free as well. But thank you so much for this conversation, Ashley. Thank you so much. For everybody watching, if you're not already subscribed, once again, subscribe. Let me know your comments down below as well, because I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Did you use scholarships when you're going to college? You know, does your child need a scholarship? Leave all those below. Let's help each other out. Okay, thanks. God bless. All right.